Deja Few, Goldilock Bears podcast with Vincent Cloud.
With John Nemitz.
And David Lauer.
And this is the show where we talk about loves and hates and differences, things we're ambivalent about, things we're on the fence about. But before we do any of that, we talk about old topics called the Deja Fews. Go ahead, myself.
So,
Okay, so we talked about Mike Myers, man, right? Dave, you loved Mike Myers.
Yeah, baby.
And we didn't, I felt like we talked about his movies, but not SNL. So let's do a little bit of that. I love Sprockets.
oh
Was it
yeah.
that
Oh,
weird
yeah.
German dude or whatever? Oh my gosh. It was
Man,
so good.
actually, where was I? I was somewhere in real life and I was like, oh my God, that looks like a guy from Sprockets. And whoever I was with had no idea what I was talking
Oh,
about. And I had to
really?
like look it up on my phone.
Well, I love that. And then Coffee Talk, where it's like a woman, big nails, big hair. It's like talk amongst yourselves. I'm wondering if that was his mom or his aunt that he was impersonating. Like a lot of his stuff is so specific, like or a little bit repeated because like he does this Scottish character who's like basically Shrek on SNL and stuff like that, Like he kind of returns to some of these people. And Dave, didn't you say like he's like, oh, this is an homage to this or that, right?
Yeah, with certain things. Yeah, I think the lady was definitely like his mom or his
Oh,
aunt. I
really?
think you're onto something there.
Nice.
Yeah. Uh he's got some great stuff. There's another sketch. I don't remember who it was with. I feel like it was like Nicole Kidman or something. But it was just a random one-off sketch, and he's like in a playground,
Oh my God.
and he's like a super amped up like ADHD kid,
Mhm.
and his mom puts a helmet on him and like ties him to the playground equipment, and he's just like trying to run away, and he can't like get any further, and he's just like amped up on sugar, and he's just like talking to the other kid who I think was Nicole Kidman, but it might have been some other actress. But it's just like the most funny random sketches. Yeah, it's really good.
Was that kind of reminds me, John, Kids in the Hall, didn't one of them play like a little kid all the time?
Yeah,
Kind of in the
Bruce
same
McCullough played oh, what was his name? Yeah, I can't remember the kid's name, but
Tommy or
Gavin, maybe?
Gavin? Oh my God,
Yeah.
that sounds right. Yeah, I want imagine those two characters in a movie with each other. That'd be great. And
Yep.
then
That would help towards your goal of getting rid of child actors.
oh my God, yes. Holy shit. Okay, and then I don't know if he was the main writer, but he was part of this sketch that I really liked. Was it like the super fans were like da bears shit like that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So good.
Those
Oh
were
my
some of my
God.
favorites.
I think it's gonna be 44 to 33 or something like that. It's
Yeah,
so
he was
awesome.
so good. And then there was the guy from Cheers. He would be on there.
Yeah.
Cliff, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Norm, right?
Norm. Yeah. And then Chris Farley was always in those sketches. I freaking love those sketches because I had uncles that were from Chicago, and those dudes talked just like my uncles. And I was like, it was this weird revelation where I'm like, whoa, people from Chicago do have a Chicago accent.
Yeah, I remember my parents loved that sketch, even though we weren't fans of the Bears. That was still a good,
Wow.
yeah, still a
That
good
must have
sketch.
taken a lot to overlook that and appreciate the humor.
Oh my gosh. All right, should we get the show started?
Let us do so.
Dave, take it away.
I have an indifference. I am indifferent to ratings and reviews. Because like nowadays, when we anything you want to buy online, with it's like on Amazon, there's always you look at the rating, like, oh, let's see what other people say about this. Or if you're gonna go out to eat, you go on Yelp and you're like, let's look at the ratings and see what people say about it. Or if you're gonna watch a movie, Rotten Tomatoes, or like there's a million different like uh sites where people do ratings on movies. And I remember in the infancy of the internet, or 20 years ago, like I felt like there was this incredible tool, and I'm like, yes, finally I get ratings and see what other people think. But like almost never do the ratings and like my experience seem to ever line up. It seems like most of the time, like people are like, "Oh, I love this movie. It's so great. It's amazing." And I'm disappointed by it. Or like a restaurant, like I heard it got terrible reviews and it does have terrible reviews, but I eat there and I'm like, "This food's really good. I really like it." Like I don't get why it has terrible reviews. Um it's like ratings and reviews on things, they're just a lot of times they're inconsistent. It's like if you're gonna leave a review about a restaurant, generally you're gonna be like, I had a bad experience. This is what happened. So you could get a lot of reviews that are just negative because of the people that are most likely to review are going to be people who had a negative experience. Um, and then like with Amazon, my problem with those is there's certain products that have like 10,000 or 5,000 reviews, and there's different websites out there that actually like track the accuracy of these reviews, where like they'll filter out ones that seem like they're AI generated or they're not from verified buyers. um where they don't, like, sometimes like the reviews are so vague and it's just like, great product, it fit awesome, but it's like this doesn't even match what the product is. Like this product isn't supposed to fit anything. It's like it's food. Like what are you talking about? It's not clothing. Like I don't know, it's just like weird inaccuracies. And like a lot of websites, they'll put the reviews, you always see like the really good reviews, and they like edit the reviews that you're going to see that are put on the top of the page, so you're more inclined to buy their product because they're just trying to sell their product. um yeah, I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well,
I'll say that when I came across reviews online, when however young I was, enough to be impressed by it or to believe it, where I'm like, oh, this person online said this thing sucks. They must be right. And that would affect how I viewed something. Thank God that didn't last very long. But like, yeah, I would just like take it upon like, when you come across a book and you're reading something and they say this, I'm like, oh, okay. That
yeah,
does
I know
suck.
exactly what you mean. Like yeah, when I was really young, I didn't understand like the concept of opinions. So like, yeah, I literally would think if somebody said something was bad, like, oh, that thing is bad, I'm going to avoid it. Like, didn't realize that someone might not like something, but I myself might like it regardless.
Oh, but when it comes to like movie reviews, I remember it would be a thing of like either read it beforehand and that'll like alter the way you're going to approach it, or you watch it and then you read about it afterwards. And I would prefer that. Although afterwards, when someone just rips a movie apart, and you're like, I actually really loved all that. Like, oh my God. Like you're just kind of like, it feels weird because you'll never meet this person, but they just hate something that you were just like, oh my gosh. And part of you thinks that they're right. Or I'm like, oh, am I just a dumb popcorn munching person who just wants to be entertained? Where I'm like, well, I do want to be entertained, and I was eating popcorn, but I don't know. It's so odd. But nowadays that's not really the case of like being, believing what I'm reading from some person who might just want to be an asshole. Oh my God, I came across a website where there's a girl that talks about music and she hates everything. She just fucking like Pink Floyd, hate it. Dark Side of the Moon sucks. And she just has all these words, but that's all her website is just hating things. It's crazy. Anyways.
I mean, yeah, somehow stuff that makes us angry drives our engagement. So if she's just being purposely controversial, like I'm sure that works for some sort of audience. So I famously hate rating and reviewing things myself. And I'm more of a fan, at least when it comes to movies, of only engaging with reviews after seeing it. And I think I've talked about this in regards to movie trailers and stuff, but like I don't want to know anything about a movie other than like, oh, I've decided to watch this thing, so I don't want to know any more about it. I just want to go in and see what it's all about. Also, like I've been with a lot of people who like on the restaurant thing, like I'll be like interested in a new place and they're like, oh, it's got 3.7 on Google Maps ratings. That's not very good. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I still want to try it anyway. Like let me find out for myself if I don't like it. Like maybe they didn't get a very good dish, or maybe like some people rate a restaurant bad because like the waitress was a jerk, and like I don't care if the waitress was a jerk. Was the food good? Like the like some for some people, and I think my wife is one of them, the interactions you have with the people are as important as like the product or the service you're getting. And for me, I could care less. Like I just want the food to be good, and if they like don't talk to me and like what I'm like just or mean, like I don't care.
John, he just slapped you in the face. But you're like, oh, but these
Yeah, but
these
the
these
taste of
rolls,
that
yeah.
finger like was delicious.
That's
Yeah,
so
I just
odd.
went
Oh
to
my God.
a sushi restaurant and it was like the wait time was incredibly long. The waitress was inattentive, like didn't like care. She's not very nice. She was just like going about her day. And like I've worked in a restaurant before, so like if you're not nice, like I get it. Like if I was at work right now, I'd probably be in a little crabby mood too. So I'm like, I don't care. And like we finally get our food and it tasted delicious. And I was like, awesome. Like that's all I wanted. I just wanted good tasting food and I got it. Like the experience, everything else around it, like the music that was playing in the place was weird, didn't match like the vibe of the restaurant, but I'm like, whatever. Food was good. I'm good.
Yeah. As long as I don't suspect that they did something to my food,
I knew that was coming.
they'll probably get a good review. Have you guys ever reviewed? Ah.
I
I did. I reviewed in Eau Claire. There was Smiling Moose subs. Um, I got a sandwich there, and they asked like, "What kind of bread do you want it on?" I was like, "White bread." And I'm like, "Okay." And they make my sandwich, and the entire bottom side of the bread was burnt black, like charred black. And I was just like, it was so burnt, it was like
how burnt
unedible.
was it?
And unedible. Like I was like looking at it, I'm like, I can't even eat my sandwich. Like this is it was insane how burnt it was. And it was like there's no way they served this without knowing that it was that bad. Like they would have smelt the flames coming out of the toaster. Like it was so black. And like so I took a picture of it and I posted a review on Yelp. Um, and like the manager left like, oh, there must be something wrong with our equipment. We'll get that fixed and taken care of. And I was like, well, yeah, there's something wrong with your equipment, maybe, but maybe there's something wrong with your employees that looked at this and said, yeah, it's good enough to send out and serve to somebody. And yada, yada, yada. Like 2, 3 months later, they shut down and they never reopened.
Whoa.
I don't
That
know if I had something to do with it. I hope not, because I love the sandwiches. But I had one bad experience, and I reviewed it out of well, I just spent $14 on a sandwich, and it was terrible.
wow, that's crazy. Um,
I don't think I've ever reviewed a place except for there's there's this app I use when I'm traveling called Happy Cow, and it helps you find like vegan and vegetarian restaurants. And there was a place that I went to that was really good for that kind of food, and they weren't on the app yet. So I like submitted them to that app, and then left them a good rating on it right away.
Nice.
But other than that, I don't think I've ever just gone and like hit like however many stars or whatever for wherever.
John, you are constantly reviewing on Letterboxd.
I don't think I've ever put a like or a star rating though for anything.
Just these weird jokes and shit.
If they're
Oh man.
even jokes.
Yeah,
I know
makes me laugh.
I have on like certain phone apps, like games on my iPhone, where like I download the game and there's just so many ads that it's like unplayable.
Oh.
Like I'll leave a review, and because it's like, how does this have 4.5 stars? I'm leaving a review saying it's terrible. I'm like, unless you're gonna pay the paid version with no ads, it's not worth downloading. Like you like almost have to pay for it because like I don't know, you can't enjoy a game if there's an ad that pops up every 30 seconds.
Wow. I thought you were going to say, like, on my phone, there's an app or a game where you just review stuff. That'd be crazy, man. That would be like, Price is Right. Like, trying to think, like, well, what is this? How could you properly critique something? That's a good idea. I'm stealing it. All right. Segue challenge.
Please don't rate this topic. Let's just move on.
All right, John or me, whoever.
I can go.
All right.
I am indifferent to the animal hierarchy. And what I mean by that is like just the fact that like people and society put so much value on some animals, like pets and horses and stuff, but then like other animals they just don't give a shit about and like don't care how they're treated and all that stuff. And it was gonna be a hate, but like, to be honest, like I have my own hierarchy. Like I don't care about ants as much as I care about, pigs or something like that. So um, I do kind of think about, like how much how likely is it for an animal to be able to suffer and have some sort of like internal thought and all that stuff and like that stuff I kind of think of, but like it just seems like the ones that society has seemingly like everyone has agreed on have no basis in anything like that whatsoever. Like like everybody agrees, it seems like that like pigs are some of the smartest animals that we know of, and yet like they're just like mass produced and slaughtered for food and stuff. Whereas like and people say like, oh, pigs are smarter than dogs, but like dogs being a pet animal, just everybody like I mean, obviously there's assholes out there who are horrible to dogs, and that's horrible. Like I hate that. But I just don't understand how people can be so protective of animals like dogs or cats, but then just not even care about other animals with like similar or higher intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird that circuses still exist.
Hmm.
Zoos are a little bit weirder because I don't know if they have nowhere else to go but to be in a zoo. I don't know though.
Yeah, zoos are a weird one for me too, because um, I like there's a lot of horrible zoos that just shouldn't exist because they treat the animals poorly and they're only doing it for profit. But like the big ones, like the San Diego Zoo, I feel like they're like doing a lot of research and um actually like putting money into protecting animals that are still out in the wild. And then, that becomes a question of like, is the I mean, and they're treating their animals better than a lot of like, and certainly like a roadside zoo or something would be. So like that you got to weigh all that stuff, I think. Um, Whereas like like your worlds and stuff like that seem to have been nothing nothing good there, and they're kind of like paying the price for it now. But that's another thing I kind of don't get either. Like like people would like sometimes there's like famous animals or like like people got so upset about that dentist who was doing like the big game hunting over in Africa or whatever, and like like they got so mad about him killing a single animal, and like they're probably like eating a cheeseburger or something. You know what I mean? Like, I
Oh, okay.
I like it's what do they call it? Charismatic megafauna or whatever. Like the animals that like are shown that like just people care way more about protecting the charismatic, like cool looking animals than maybe some uglier or whatever animals that just aren't that are equally necessary to their environment, but not as cool to look at.
Um, I just wanted to say real quick, I had this weird moment recently where like I felt bad for killing the flies in the house, where usually it's just like instinct, like, oh, there's a fly, smack. Where I'm like, well, they're so hard to get rid of otherwise, like it's hard to capture one like the
Mhm.
Karate Kid and then set it out free.
You don't
But
have
like,
to use chopsticks.
yeah, I'm a purist.
And don't flies only live for like 10 or 14 days or something? That's what I heard.
I heard they live for 93 years on average.
I heard they only live for a few days, so it's okay to kill them.
Oh man. Dave, what do you got to say about the animal hierarchy?
um like there is like a weird, yeah, animal hierarchy, and like when I go fishing and I'll keep fish and I'll eat fish, but then I'll see people post pictures on Facebook where they caught like 25 fish and they kept them all, and I'm just like appalled. And I'm like, you don't need to keep 25 fish because you caught 25 fish. I'm like, you keep two, maybe three, and you put the rest back. Like it's like that unsustainable hunting and fishing. It, like conservationism is like the one of the biggest parts um of like hunting and fishing is leaving something for the future generations, and like people who just pull out tons of fish out of the river or the lake, it absolutely pisses me off. And like with like hunting, like I've hunted deer, and like I'm okay with it because it's like I rationalize it because like I eat the meat. I don't like there's so many deer, and we have to thin the herd. So there's so many, so I'm okay with it. And I know like my dad was talking about how he wants to go out west and like hunt moose and elk. But like when I went to Yellowstone National Park, I saw moose and I saw elk living in their natural habitat, and I would never kill one of those. I'm like, they're such beautiful animals. And it's like I have my own hierarchy, and I'm like, those are beautiful creatures. I would never harm them. I would never hurt them. But at the same time, like you're saying, like a pig, I'm like, eh. I'm like, it lays in its own filth. And it's like, but why does it do that? Because we put it in a pen and it has nowhere else to go but lay in its own filth. So it's the logic there, it falls apart really quickly.
Most brilliant men are slobs.
Is that true? And like you bring up hunting, like that's a weird one to me too, that like so many people who eat beef and pork and chicken and stuff will get mad at hunters. Like that's so barbaric and how can you do that and that stuff. I'm like, well, like if you hunted deer, like that deer is only suffering for like the last, I don't know, let's say hour of its life, hopefully only seconds if, you get a clean kill or whatever. Whereas like, that cow is probably suffering like 80% of its entire life and somehow that's okay. Like that stuff I don't really understand either.
It just tastes so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I always thought the same thing. I was like, well, at least like the deer, it lived like a happy life, and yeah, it was living in its natural habitat and having a good life. Yeah, because like the farm animals that live in these giant factory farms, like their life is horrible conditions from beginning to end.
Hunting should
And
be a future topic. Let's write that
yeah,
down, right? Yeah.
Write
okay.
that down. Write that down.
Write that down, write that down.
And like I bought like a half a beef and I have it in my freezer, and it's like, to me it's better on my conscience to know that like I'm eating from one animal. I'm not eating from like factory farm stuff that I bought at Walmart, where every like pound of hamburger could have unknown hundreds of different cows meat in it. It's like, I'm like, there's like one cow was killed and it's shared between two families, and that's like the beef that you're going to eat for the next 6 months or a year of your life. Like it's more sustainable, and like it's not like, I don't know, just it's a step removed from like the barbaric factory farms.
Segue. I mean, do you guys have anything else? I mean, it's a good topic, but I don't know what else to say. It's fucked up.
Yeah, what makes horses so great, huh?
Personality goes a long way. Didn't they say that in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah. Real quick. I love seeing footage of like different odd animals getting along as friends.
Oh, like unlikely animal companions.
Yeah. That is awesome. Maybe that could be a future topic. I don't know. But
Yes.
Yeah,
all right.
I saw a video of like a dog and a raccoon, and like the dog was like showing the raccoon where to go, and it was like going through like this little like culvert or something, and they're just like friends, like it's out of nowhere they just found each other, and now they're like best friends following each other around.
All right. Well, I'll go next. Wait, did we do the segue?
Yes.
We did? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about it because I'm like, who's next? All right. I will go next. I want to do my mystery topic. There we go. I I love rearranging furniture. You know, sometimes I could get bored. Things might feel stale in my life. So rearranging the furniture is always a nice little shakeup. I don't know. Yeah, I always kind of like it. I feel a bit refreshed when I do this. Yeah. What do you guys think? You don't.
I think my wife would agree with you. And um I'm
Oh, why don't you just marry her then? Oh, wait, I said that wrong.
Maybe I will. I'm more like, she'll be like, oh, what do you think about where I put the chair? And I'll be like, where was it before?
Put it back.
Yeah, that's all I got.
I like rearranging furniture. I don't know. Like I remember when I was a kid, like we would rearrange like our living room basically had like three walls and then like an opening to our dining room. But like you could put the TV on one wall and then you put the couch against the other one and then like the chair against the other wall. And just like rotating them. Like I always remember like my TV used to be against this wall, but now it's against this wall. And our chair is over here, like the window is to the side, but now it's like the window's in front and I can look out the window and look at the TV and I don't have the glare from the window on the TV. And I was like, oh, maybe this is the way the room's supposed to be set up.
Actually,
And like
that's what I was thinking. Like, kind of like maybe you discover the right way to do it, and then you're kind of done rearranging at that point.
Yeah.
John, do you come in and like comically fail to sit down where you thought a couch was? Like, what the
hell?
I think there was a I Love Lucy episode that did that, where they rearrange the furniture or something, and then Desi comes in the room, and it's like that's the whole gag is he puts his hat up, and he's focused on something. He like gets his coffee, and then he goes to where his chair is, and then he sits down and he falls onto the floor.
Classic.
The other thing that's really fun, well, like where you have the three walls and then the big opening, right? Sometimes you put the couch in that big opening, so you kind of create a fourth wall in a sense. That's kind of fun. And then you could
And you gotta jump over the couch into the room.
Yeah. And then I'm a big fan of this stadium seating. You put pallets, and you put your couch on there so that you could put another couch in front of that. So yeah, stadium seating is cool as shit. I almost want to do that now. That's great.
Sounds like a single man's game.
Come on, help me
But
out.
I'll run by the idea of stadium seating in my house.
Yes, do it. Dave, do the same. That could be a déjà vu. I'm serious. Oh my God.
Maybe I could build some
There we go.
at least some framework for like a foundation. Like I remember your stadium seating in your house on Blueberry Lane, and it was incredible. It was so great because you had like the big TV. He doesn't live there anymore, so he'd be barking up the wrong tree. Yeah, like the stadium seating was great. I don't think there's any way I could do that in my current place. But I like it in like we did it in our bedroom where we just changed what wall our bed was against and where our dressers were. And like for a week, every time we walked into the room, it was just like something new. It was like, it's like I have a new room in the house. It's like it was weird because it was like now you're close to the bathroom door and I'm over here. And it's I don't know. I liked it so much. Like this is like inspiring me to like move furniture this weekend.
That's awesome. All right, segue challenge. I feel like we could get some better feng shui if we move this couch.
That's a great word.
It is. Oh my God, it's so fun. All right, go ahead, Dave.
All right, I got a mystery topic here. It's kind of an indifference. I have an indifference to this is totally the wrong time of year, but to farmers markets. Farmers markets are more of a summer thing, and we're getting into fall. But like I really want to love farmers markets, but ultimately, like I can't because like the prices, I feel like they used to be better, and it's like back in the day, farmers markets were great, but like now it's like the prices are too high. Um, like you can get awesome fresh produce and you're buying from someone local, which is awesome because you just it's a local exchange rather than buying some produce from South America that had to be put on a ship and or flown in on a plane or whatever. But with farmers markets, I don't like the fact that the prices are high. I don't like the fact that there's like certain people like their attitudes are weird there where they're like trying to sell you like salesmen, and I'm like no, I'm like that's the wrong vibe. Like the last time I went to one, they have like their handmade like crafts. They're not even selling produce. I'm like, this is a farmer's market. You're supposed to be selling vegetables or produce or fruits, or you can sell honey or some bread. I'm like, that's also great. But like
I'm sorry, sir. Do you live on a wind chime farm? Like, what's going on here?
Exactly. Like they're planting soap and they're growing soap out of the ground, and now I'm getting all their weird soaps, and they're like, oh, they're all natural, and it has. I'm like, you took soap and you like added some like purple dye of lavender, and then you put some oats in it. And I don't know. But I don't know. Anytime I've gone to a farmer's market recently, I've always been like somewhat let down. And it's like one thing I do like is like the side of the road stands where they're just selling like oranges or corn or peaches. Like those I really like for some reason. But once you gather all of them together, there's so many weird experiences with some of the stands, and like you're like trying to pay with cash, but they don't have change. So you're like, oh, just keep the change, I guess. And I feel like I'm getting ripped off sometimes.
Wow. No, I went to one. I went to a few, I believe, and I want to go back because I liked it. Like, the community feel. That's really cool, Um, and then I feel like you don't really run into assholes there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not a lot of like Karens trying to buy some squash. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think,
We
John?
used to go to the St. Paul Farmers Market all the time, and it's actually really good. Like it's huge, and like there's enough like vendors selling similar stuff that they actually have to compete price wise. So you would actually get pretty good deals on carrots and sugar snap peas and whatnot.
Mm.
And like they also have like a couple food vendors, like for like pre-made, like there's like an egg roll guy and like a bagel sandwich guy and that kind of stuff. Um, but like we quit going there kind of just because um they put a new baseball stadium in next to it for the minor league team. And then just after that, like parking sucked and it was just like a pain to get there and to go there. And like, so I never really stopped going because I didn't like the market anymore, but just because kind of getting there became more of a hassle. And we've gone to like other smaller ones around, but like the St. Paul one was really strict that like the food there had to be grown from within, X miles of the location. And like there was some of the crafty stuff, but it was mostly not that. Like it was like the vast majority was just like produce when, that was really good. And like other places we've gone have just not measured up. Like you go there and like they'll have like a box of bananas or something. Like, oh, where'd you get those bananas in Minnesota? Like, um, like they're like it's just like you don't know what's actually something they grew locally and what's not, and yeah, just like a lot more junky, crafty stuff that I don't really want, um, and like you might go somewhere and there's only one person with carrots, so yeah, they like kind of jack the price up.
Oh shit.
So I too am indifferent towards farmer markets. And if you find a good one, don't let it go.
Yeah, I think like being near like a big city or in a big city would probably be a lot better because one of my problems is like there's not enough people there. So like if I go up to a stand and start looking at their products, I feel obligated to buy something. Otherwise, I feel guilty that I was there and I looked at their stuff and I went, not for me. Because I'm like, then they're just looking at me like, oh, you're not gonna buy anything. But like, if I was in a crowded city and there's lots of people around, I'm like, I wouldn't feel bad about it. But it's like they like rope you into a conversation, like, how you doing today? Where you from? Oh, I like your T-shirt that you're wearing. And it was like I was wearing a Led Zeppelin T-shirt, and they're like, "What's your favorite Led Zeppelin song?" And I'm like, "You caught me off guard. I'm getting stage fright. I can't think of any."
I thought you were gonna say album, and you'd be like three, no, one, no, four.
Oh, that'd be good. Uh,
Oh man. Oh, would you guys ever sell your stuff? I mean, if you could. Doesn't that sound kind of fun?
No.
seems like a lot of work. It seems like a garage
Yeah.
sale, but it has to be portable. You have to bring like your own tent, tables, and then like, what if it rains and no one comes?
Yeah, and I would be on the other end. I'd be like, I don't want someone like Dave judging my cauliflower and then walking away.
But it looks like a
I,
brain. Come on.
yeah, I don't know. That just seems like a lot of work, and for I guess they must get a decent enough profit if they keep coming back all the time, but I don't know.
Well, I've sold things like set up a table, my mom and myself, and
So
like my mom was an artist. Like so we didn't sell food, but we definitely sold her artwork, beadwork and stuff. But I also made these little elves out of clay. Oh well, yeah, they were elves, there were other people or whatever, but that was the coolest thing. people showing up, walking, and they're like, "Whoa, this is cool. I'll buy this." I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" But at the same time, it's like, "Oh, that was a an original, like, there's only one of those that I've ever made ever, and there it goes." And that was weird. But I just loved that they liked what I produced, not produce, but whatever craft I had. That was really nice. That felt very good. So yeah, I'd probably do a farmer's market thing.
Yeah,
Vinny's Veggies. That's what the stand's going to be called. Do they all have to have names like food trucks?
no, they don't have
Well,
to.
I'm going to have a name then.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind like the act of doing the selling. I was just thinking of like all the work it would take to grow enough carrots to, like sell at a market and then to pick them and clean them and then cart them in there and then sit in front of them. And like if someone else had the veggies and they're like, "Hey, can you man the stand for a couple hours?" Like, I wouldn't mind
You're hired.
that.
Don't work for Vinny's Veggies.
Can you break a 20? Nope. You gotta buy more.
We don't have this change. I'm sorry.
All right, segue challenge.
Well, this stand here doesn't have any topics I like. Let's move on to the next.
And let's say it loud enough so that they hear it. All right, go ahead, John.
Me again, huh? Um, Let me remember. Oh, I hate the lack of public etiquette, and that is mostly like just when you're out and about in a public space and people are just not self-aware. Like they'll like get off an elevator and then just like stand in front of it, deciding where they want to go, and you're like, "Hey, like, can I get around you?" Or um like you get on an escalator and everybody's just clumped on there standing and like, you should stand on the right, walk on the left. So if you want to go up faster, you can, but like that's virtually like non-existent around like where I live. And maybe in like some of the bigger cities like New York or something, they do it. I don't know, but like it's definitely more prevalent in other countries. It seems like people are more aware of that stuff. And so I always feel like, like especially like a down escalator, like this isn't like a carnival ride that you're just like sitting on. Like you can keep walking like it was normal steps. Um and yeah, it's just mostly like just like it has to do with driving too, I guess, just like not being aware when you're just in people's way. And maybe this is just me more having a phobia of being in people's way, but it just really bugs me when people aren't self-aware in that way.
Yeah, something that happens all the time because I work nights. I drive through Cadott and Cornell, and these guys do not like to turn off their brights
Oh,
ever. It is so
yeah.
annoying. It does. You can flash them. It does not matter. It's crazy. So I just have to deal with it. It sucks. What
That
about you,
reminds me,
Dave?
Yeah.
unrelated. Hold on.
Oh, shit.
I was driving down the interstate and there was like not a lot of cars on the road and I passed somebody and then they like got into the middle of the two lanes, so they were kind of like had their wheels on each side of the center lane, and they like flashed their lights 3 times, and then they like got back over in the right lane again, and I had no idea what it meant or why they did it, and I still don't know.
Whoa, that's weird.
He must have been like avoiding something that was in the road, maybe like a animal carcass or something, and he was flashing you like, "Hey, I have to move over."
I don't
I
know,
don't
like I
know.
was well in front of him before he did that, so like I wouldn't have cared what he did back there, but yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be on John's tombstone. I wouldn't care what he did back there. Isn't that an urban legend though? You flash the wrong person and then they fucking chase you and flash you and stuff. That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking. I was like, oh
For
I've
like
shit.
Jeepers Creepers.
Oh my God, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
that wasn't poor etiquette. That was just confusing.
like with the poor etiquette in like public spaces and like people not being aware. I had that happen to me in an airport. And I've had it happen a couple times in airports. And I guess it's kind of understandable because you're in an unfamiliar place. But like we're like getting off of like the tram to like get to a different terminal, and we're all just like waiting. There's tons of people in this space. We're all walking off, and then this lady in front of me, she inexplicably just stopped dead in her tracks. I don't know, maybe she was looking at her phone, probably, or looking at a sign, and I just walked right into the back of her, and just I almost knocked her over, and I was totally. And she was like, "Oh!" And she let out a shriek, and I was like, "I can't believe you just stopped! Like, there's 100 people behind me, or at least like 30 or 40 people behind me. We're all getting off, and we're all funneling in this direction. Like, why would you stop in the middle of all this traffic? Like, this is like a highway right now." And yeah, and I'm just like you, I think, in traffic, where I'm very like aware. I'm like, I don't want to be in anyone's way, and if I'm going slow, I want to be out of the way, make sure people are able to get around me. I'm not slowing other people down, because like I get annoyed when I'm like, when someone's slowing you down, you're like, you could have easily just gone over there. You could have done this on that side of the street. You shouldn't be stopped right here. Um, and like there's also like just like general politeness of people. I think like what I always run into is like if I'm at like a store, like walk I don't know, I don't really go out a whole lot, but I just go grocery shopping, and I'm driving on the road, so all of my stories are like going grocery shopping. But like if you're in an aisle and like there's someone just standing there and they're looking at all the soup, and I'm just like waiting behind them, and I'm just like politely waiting for my turn, and then somebody else like wants, and they just like walk up next to me and then cut in front of me, and like are reaching over the little old lady trying to get soup, and I'm like, hey, I was forming a line here. We were going to be polite, but they're just cutting in, and I'm like, oh, I see how it is.
It's crazy how we're reduced to jungle law when like something goes wrong with the lights, the four-way stop sign, or no, just the lights. And so you could see those who are taking turns. That's what you're supposed to do if there's no lights. But then you see assholes who just keep going after that other person. And you're like, yep, that's who you would be in an apocalypse scenario, you know?
Yeah, that's
Uh,
funny.
um, oh, you know what still bothers me? Litter. It's so
Yeah.
annoying. Yeah, like I still run into that where it's like, a garbage can is right there, bro. Jeez.
Or like I just saw I know this happens all the time. I just saw someone like, throw a cigarette butt out of their moving car. I'm like, oh yeah, people still do that, huh?
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Uh, Segway challenge. Do we have anything else?
Mm,
No, but Dave was patiently waiting there to issue the Segway challenge, and you just butted ahead of him and done
Jungle law, man, jungle.
it.
All right, I will go. For closers. Okay, so I'm indifferent to birthdays. I just had a birthday this month,
Oh,
October 3rd.
congratulations.
Hold on.
not so fast.
So let me just start off with this. I was sad when I turned 18. I'm like, oh, I'm no longer a child. I wasn't into it. People are like, oh, you're an adult now. I'm like, yeah, adult.
I guess I'll go buy some cigarettes,
Yeah.
some
And
lottery
so
tickets.
I don't know. It's just like I wasn't really into it. So much so about aging that there was a game called Fable. I don't know if you guys ever played that, but it's like the cover of it is like a kid and he's looking down at his reflection in a pool, and the pool is like this armored dude, like this warrior and shit like that. And what you do is you go from childhood and you age and become
Oh.
that dude, right? And wanted to remain a child. Like I wanted to remain in that level, so I didn't have to age.
Peter Pan syndrome.
Oh, for sure. Oh my God, I have that for sure. I'm not into the whole aging thing. Um, I don't celebrate them and stuff, but I did turn 40, and
Oh,
my mom.
congratulations.
And hold on, let's hold your horse. But which is crazy because when I was a kid, like legit, didn't like to age. I was like, you know what, 40 would be a good age to die. I said that and thought
Jeez.
that more than once.
You said that out loud to your mom?
No.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so she showed up, and my birthday present to myself, it was talking to the bank about getting a house. I got
Oh,
some good
wow.
news, and so I'm excited, something to look forward to and stuff.
Now can I
Uh,
say congratulations?
oh, so, but anyways, for my birthday though, after I talked to the bank, that was cool. Then my mom showed up, and we drove around just looking at houses and stuff. That was really sweet. And just hanging out with my mom in general is always cool. We always talk about a lot of stuff. And actually, it kind of uh I come up with topics just talking to her because we talk about a variety of things. But I got a gift from my brother who I haven't seen in a long time, and it was a pretty cool gift. I was like, oh, that's thoughtful. And again, I don't like to give gifts or think about it, but it was pretty cool. And then I'm like, I do feel like this day was pretty nice and stuff. So when I got home, I was like, well, what do I like? How do I treat myself and stuff like that? So I
So,
I put on Abbey Road by the Beatles on vinyl, and that was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that for me to play that, but I'm like, that would hit the spot. That's pretty good. So I played that, and then I followed that up with Radiohead's Kid A, which is a completely different feel and vibe. But I do remember because Kid A was released on October 3rd, 2000. And I always felt like, oh, that means we love each other. But yeah, what do you guys think about birthdays?
I'm pretty indifferent to them. Like, I feel like I haven't really celebrated my own for like since before college, really. Like, it's just not something I'm that interested in or care that much about. Although I guess these days maybe it would be a good excuse just to get together with people. Um, but yeah, I don't think about it that much, really. Um, I don't. I remember like when we were in our 20s, I remember talking to you. You always thought a lot about aging and getting older and stuff in a way that I didn't I didn't really think about or dread as much as you seemed to, and maybe still seem to. But um, so maybe in that sense, I'm even more indifferent to them than you, whereas you maybe have like a more negative vibe with them.
What about you, David?
Like I'm indifferent to birthdays for sure. Like I think the last time I celebrated one was when I turned 30, but and it was an awesome time out. And I think like birthdays were really cool for me when it was like you were turning 21, 22, 23. And like we all had like college age friends and we would go up to the bar and it was like an excuse to like drink at the bar and it was your birthday so you were gonna drink for free. Like those were like the cool birthdays to me. Um so I enjoyed that so I have like fond recollection. But now it's like I don't do anything. Like we'll go out to dinner with family, but I also go out to dinner with those same family members on everyone else's birthday. And it happens like once every couple months, and it's, for everyone's birthday in our immediate family around this area. So like it's lost its specialness. Like when I was a kid, I'd look forward to it because I got a present and it was like, oh, I got a video game. I know I'm going to get a video game. And that was like a huge major deal. Like if I could get Donkey Kong Country 3, like my life is going to be amazing.
Oh, that's so true.
And like and oh that reminds me of you were talking about that video game Fable. In Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, when you play that game, you start off as Child Link, and you play kind of the first half of the game as Child Link, and then you like pull out the Master Sword, and then you like warp to Adult Link, and the second half of the game is as Adult Link. But I never wanted when I would play the game and restart it, I always hated playing the child. I always wanted to be the adult.
Hmm.
I don't know why. He had like different powers and like you could different abilities. He had the boomerang where the child didn't have the boomerang. Um, and different reasons like that. But yeah, I don't know why. It just made me think of Zelda. Um, but back to like the birthdays, like I feel nothing special about birthdays now. It's just another day. It makes me feel my own mortality and that like I'm another year closer to death. And it makes me like reflect on my life where I'm like, have I done anything? Like, what have I accomplished? Like, what have I failed to do? And it makes me reflect on my own like personal shortcomings. And yeah, like it's like that part of it, it like makes my skin crawl and it makes me like think of my own like health and like how long I'm gonna be around. And I don't like that at all.
Any presents come to mind? I remember getting Spaceballs one year, and that was so terrific because I love that movie, and just to finally own it was so good.
Oh man, that's a good question. Like when I always think of like good presents for Christmas. I'm not
Yeah.
like no really good birthday presents are coming to mind. I'm sure there were some. Um, like you got the birthday checks, which was always cool because then you could buy whatever you wanted then.
Oh my God, did your family do the birthday spankings at all?
I remember like they joked about it. I don't remember that it actually ever happened.
We weren't a physical family. Yeah, that would. It's like they would always spring it on you because first of all, you're like I'm part of a big family, so you're outnumbered. Whoever's birthday it is going to be chased down and spanked. So yeah, that was just a part of the ritual.
Did they ever give you a pinch to grow an inch?
Yes, I believe so. But you would get a spanking for every year that you
Yeah.
were, so you're just like, oh my gosh, really piling up.
And grandma had really had it rough. 81, 82.
Oh God.
Oh, I one thing I remember about my birthdays growing up was my birthday was on the 20th and my older sister's birthday was on the 23rd. So we always shared like a birthday. It seemed like we would always celebrate it like the same day. So it was like because my parents were getting two gifts, they were both like lesser gifts. They weren't going to spend as much money on the gift. And then sometimes it was like, well, you guys are just going to share a birthday cake too. And it was like, come on, I want my own cake. But like, I don't know. It almost was not quite as bad as like those kids who had their birthday on Christmas, where it was like, it's like almost like you don't get a birthday, I would imagine. Where it's just like, you just one of the Christmas gifts is just going to be your birthday gift.
Was the cake at least half and half your interests and your sister's interests?
No, like I remember it being like German chocolate cake that had like the coconut
Oh, coconut
frosting.
on a kid's cake?
Yeah,
That's the worst.
not good.
I like it now, but I would have hated it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about people who are like super into their birthday? Like, oh, it's my birthday month.
Yeah.
My wife might be listening.
You know,
She loves her birthday.
I kind of get that though. Like just I don't know. It's also very odd because it's not like I haven't listened to Abbey Road forever or Kid A. You know what I mean? It was just what specifically do I really love? But the other thing is I do whatever I want all the time. You know, that kind of explains my health. So again, I don't really feel too much about birthdays, but I think it's weird when parents throw big birthday parties for babies that will never remember this, you know, like they won't form memories until some age. I don't know. What's the typical age? 4?
Sure.
Four or
Yeah.
five, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like if you have like groups of friends that, like you like these other parents and you just want an excuse to hang out with them and they'll bring their kids over, that's one thing. But like, yeah, the parents who like invite all these like randos over to their house for like a 2-year-old's birthday party just seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, my wife's like sister-in-law, or my sister-in-law, she has two boys like ages like 5 and 6, and like their birthday parties are like so extravagant, and they're like they have themes, and like this, it'll be a Spider-Man theme or a Super Mario theme or whatever their favorite character is. They'll have like all this, like the cups, the plates, the like banners on the wall. They get all this like awesome toys and these amazing cupcakes and all the special stuff that like I never got when I was a kid. And I'm just like, so like to me, I'm like, they don't need this. Like, and I see that. But then like, and it's like the kids, they're so like indifferent to it because they get it every single birthday year that it's almost just like, yeah, it's my birthday. Like, I don't even care how cool this is. But at the same time, it's like it's more about like the parent doing this stuff. It's like the parent enjoys it and they enjoy taking all the pictures because they're just kind of like putting stuff in the memory bank for themselves. They're like, I'm going to deposit all these pictures, and then in 25 years we'll be able to look at it and we're going to love it and we're going to be really grateful we did it back then. It's kind of one of those things.
Anything else about birthdays? Getting sung to can be weird.
Oh yeah.
You
Trying to
know,
make up a wish on the spot, and it's just like, I wish I had $1 million.
I remember at like in grade school when it was your birthday they would sing for you and I I wasn't ever like a fan of being like the center of attention unless it was because I made an awesome joke or something like that. So I remember one time like I just kind of was like not really acknowledging it and like the teacher got mad at me like this is for you and you're just gonna like pretend like it's not happening. Like yes.
I remember the same feeling where when I had a birthday on a weekend, I was like, oh, good. Because I always thought like the tradition of bringing like cupcakes for your entire class. I'm like, that was so backwards to me. I'm like, it's my birthday. Why do I have to bring cake?
You
They
give
should be
me a
bringing me
cupcake.
cake. Yeah.
I have very old memories where in why does that sound weird? Elementary.
Elementary, my
Uh,
dear boy.
yes, of course.
I'm
So,
indifferent to how that's pronounced.
every, when it was your birthday, there was like 5 games that you can choose to play. One was like you put your head down and you ask who took your bone or whatever, and someone says me, but in a weird voice, and you have to guess who said me. And then there's like hot and cold where you gotta like, oh, you gotta find this thing. So everyone's saying like, oh, you're getting hotter, or you're getting colder. You gotta fight it in the classroom. So it's all these games. And it was
Did you say
my,
who took your bone?
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that game.
Yeah. It's basically like a guessing game. You have to try and think of who said that or whatever. Um, but I remember I chose one and some asshole kids were like, "Oh, that's like the worst one." And I was like, "I'm sorry. I don't want all of us to have to play this game, it's just something that happens." Oh my gosh. I had a lot of asshole kids in school. And no, it wasn't John. I didn't meet him till high school. He was an asshole there.
Yeah.
He waited at least. All right. That's the end of the show, I believe. Let's blow these candles out and end the show. Like, subscribe, comment if you're on YouTube. Go to afewgoldillockbears.com. I was Vincent Cloud.
Find us all in all of the podcast apps. I'm John Nemeth.
And if you're feeling so inclined, leave a review. I'm David Lauer.